Welcome to the Tool Lending Library at the Smart Buildings Center, an energy efficiency innovation space for commercial, institutional, and industrial building operations. Our focus is where smart meets comfort, safety, and efficiency. And we offer state-of-the-art training and meeting spaces, educational resources such as this training video, and our Tool Lending Library offers a wide spectrum of diagnostic and monitoring tools available for free. So to create an account and check out our tools, go ahead and visit our website at smartbuildingscenter.org. So today I'd like to discuss some strategies and tools for mitigating the spread of airborne infectious disease particles in buildings, such as the virus responsible for the COVID-19 global pandemic. Now, while this pandemic is certainly the largest such event that we've seen in our lifetimes, it's not the first epidemic, and it most certainly won't be the last. So it's important to understand strategies for operating buildings more safely under these conditions. And of course, this pandemic has prompted a renewed focus on building operations in controlling airborne infectious disease particles and aerosols. So professional bodies like ASHRAE have issued guidelines for operating buildings under these conditions and using HVAC systems to help mitigate the spread of infectious particles. Now, two key parameters for these strategies include increased ventilation, and specifically outdoor air ventilation, to dilute infectious particles, minimizing recirculated air, and increasing filtration on recirculated air. And we have several tools available here in the tool library that can assist with diagnosing problems and helping to control airflow and make sure that your systems are working properly to deliver increased airflow and provide better safety and comfort for your occupants. So today I want to show some of the tools we have available in our tool library that can be helpful for mitigating the spread of infectious disease particles in buildings, such as the virus responsible for the COVID-19 global pandemic. We have several tools available in our library for airflow testing, for example, and so I'll just show you a few of these tools. The first one I want to show you here is our Fluke 922 airflow meter. So this is a versatile instrument. It can measure velocity of air, it can measure differential pressure, it can measure room pressure, and so it has a pitot tube here for measuring differential pressure in a duct, for example. You connect this to some tubing. You can also use it to measure volume of air, flow volume. So very versatile tool in helping to make sure that your systems are working properly in the first place before you're making any big adjustments. And the next tool I have here is this Fluke, also a Fluke 975. This is a 975 air meter. This also is capable of measuring velocity. It has a probe here, and it can also measure CO2, which can be useful as an indirect comparison to outdoor air levels, and it can also measure temperature and relative humidity. So another very versatile instrument. Now we have several data loggers available in our library. This one is a motor logger. This can help you determine whether your motors are working properly on your fans and help you verify your schedules. So in lieu of doing a night walkthrough, you can set up a data logger, make sure that your fan motors are running when you want them to and according to the schedule you've set. Another instrument here is a vane anemometer. So again, this is useful for measuring airflow, velocity, temperature, and this can log readings as well. So this could be used in front of a duct. It can be used as for exhaust, a grill, for example. And then I have a little mini version very compact. This is made by X-Tech. It's an environmental meter. And this will actually measure light levels in addition to air velocity, airflow, temperature, relative humidity, wet bulb, dry bulb, dew point, etc. Pocket size, very handy. Okay, and this is a digital manometer. So this measures pressure differential and total pressure. And this has a couple of little ports on the top here, some tubing. You connect the tubing. You can either leave the other end of the tubing open to measure room pressure, or you can connect it to a pitot tube. This is another pitot tube. This is a small version. This is much more compact and portable. This also includes some duct static pressure probes. So similar, these go up into the duct and measure the static pressure. And another tool we have here is the smoke pencil. This is called the Dragon Puffer, and it's basically just like a mini smoke machine. So you make a little puff here, and it can help you determine which way the air is going. This can be used standalone to kind of see where you might be getting drafts, which direction of flow, making sure you have the correct pressure, positive or negative, depending on the space. And this can also be useful when doing a blower door test. We also have a blower door available in the tool lending library. So another really useful instrument for measuring exhaust or supply on a grill in a ceiling or a wall, for example, is a flow hood. So we have a couple of flow hoods available in the library. This one is a short ridge flow hood, so you hold this up tight up against the grill if it's on the ceiling, for example, and this has a meter that can plug into the flow hood or be used as a standalone. So it just plugs in here and it will measure the flow coming out of that grill. Now, this meter is also very versatile. As I mentioned, it can be used standalone for other applications, so measuring pressure and velocity. It has another pitot tube here with it, large pitot tube similar to the others we talked about. It also has this airfoil probe, which is really handy. This actually amplifies the velocity pressure signal. And so it's really useful for low velocity applications or small ducts, for example. This instrument also includes duct static pressure probes. So next I want to talk about the CO2 measurements. So CO2 can be used as a proxy for understanding the levels of outside air you're bringing into a building. So the outside air level is typically around 400 parts per million CO2. So the closer to that level you have, the closer you can figure you are to outside air levels, which is what you want to dilute the air for mitigating airborne infectious disease. So you can do spot measurements. This instrument here is a spot probe for measuring CO2 levels. It can also do CO, and a very useful, highly accurate instrument. Now, for getting a good picture, though, of what CO2 levels are happening in your building, you want to do measurements over a sustained period of time so that you can see how effectively your ventilation system is working to keep the air diluted. So we have this Tel-Air CO2 monitor, and we actually have another video you can check out that goes into detail about how to set up and operate this to measure your ventilation system effectiveness. But essentially this plugs into a Hobo data logger, and there are several that can work for this application. In this case, I'm showing the 4-channel analog data logger, which has 4 ports on the bottom here, so you can plug the Tel-Air CO2 monitor into one of these ports, and this will log the information. So this is taking real-time measurements, and this data logger will log those measurements over time. Now, what's versatile about this is then you have 3 additional ports on this 4-channel logger, so you can configure those to measure other things, such as temperature. This is a temperature and relative humidity sensor. So this could plug into another port, and you could get those measurements if those are useful to see how well your system is maintaining temperature while bringing in all of that outside air. You can also use the 4-channel logger with CTs or current transducers to monitor, to log power consumption. So very versatile system there. So this is just a small sampling of the tools we have available in our library. For the full list of tools, go ahead and check out our website, smartbuildingscenter.org. You can browse all the tools as well as check out more educational resources, videos, and tutorials.